So I'm gonna be totally honest with you, I did not think this photo shoot would work. Me and my fiancée Emily, we drove out to the beach in the middle of the night with a can full of petrol, no backdrops, no flash, and no backup plan whatsoever. And I wasn't sure whether we'd come home with something usable or totally amazing. What we actually came home with was some of the most striking images that we've ever produced. And in this video, we're going to show you exactly how we did it. The concept was relatively simple. We wanted to keep it as natural as possible. The firewood that we used was the only light source that we had. So we had no flashes, no continuous light. We just had the glow of the real fire on the skin. The problem with that is the obvious. The fire is unpredictable. It moves, it flickers, it dies down, and it builds back up. You have little to no control over that, like you would say a softbox. But that unpredictability is exactly what makes it so amazing. There's nothing you could really do in the studio that would replicate it fully. So we went all in and we shot this shot. So we went out very late. We needed it to be completely dark for this to work. The fire needed to be our only light source. So we went to a very secluded beach in the middle of nowhere at the pitch black night. Then we made a big divot in a circle around Emily and we poured petrol into the divot. We needed it to be big enough to light Emily up, but not so big that she would be catching on fire. So after a couple test runs, we finally got her in the middle of the circle and we lit it up. And for most of these images, the camera that was used was the R5 and the 85mm 1.2. With it being at nighttime, we needed a lens that was wide enough to be able to pick up enough light to actually make the ISO manageable. Because of that 85mm creating creamy backdrops in foreground that just melts away, the fire blends into the image perfectly. I did also have my 50mm 1.2 with me just in case, and we did snap some wider shots on this. In the settings that we used, we had the lens wide open and we just adjusted the ISO to make sure we had enough light to light the shot. The biggest challenge that we actually faced for this shoot wasn't the cameras, which I thought it might be with it being pitch black and having fire as our only light source. It actually wasn't too bad. The biggest problem that we faced was actually Emily. And because we live in the UK, where it's not exactly the Bahamas in the middle of the night on a beach, and she was absolutely freezing. But once we got that fire going, it actually helped tremendously. She was warm, she was fine. But we had to move quite quickly to get the most out of every frame because petrol doesn't burn forever. And we didn't want to end up with her just freezing in the middle of the beach. And here's what genuinely surprised me about this. I wasn't expecting the images to be as good as they are. The quality of light that we get from this style of lighting setup, as we want to call it, was actually really good. I wasn't expecting to have rim lights around the model, even though we're lighting from the floor up, which is genuinely a big no-no. These are genuinely some of the best images that we've ever taken, and I definitely think we're going to do a round 2 and make it even more interesting. If you're a photographer and you've never experimented with unconventional light systems, that can be fire, neon, practical lights, or anything that is outside of a softbox, I actually can't recommend it enough. Sometimes the best shots come from setups that you wouldn't have even expected to work. And that's why you should always go out and try something new. So if you enjoyed this video, give me a follow, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.